Hey y'all, Monk Joseph here with the Broken Buddha. Got one last video. I'm tired as heck, but I'm going to rock it out real quick. I'll start up high explaining and then I'll move to a lower setting so you can see my feet. Okay, leg breathing from Hakka to YLC or Yang Lu Chan. At the end of my Hakka Shaolin research and practice of like 21 years, somebody explained to me, by the way, thank you David Welter from the SPM or Southern Praying Mantis Group for helping me fully understand this at the end of my journey with the Hakka styles. There's you when they say squeezing with your knees, whether your toes are pointed in or pointed straight, when they say squeezing in with your knees, it's a little bit of a re-explanation in my opinion. It's more like squeeze with your feet, but use your whole legs like a pair of chopsticks for grabbing a soccer ball. We'll get into that. But there's a lot of Hakka practitioners out there who don't know this, or will talk you in circles, or don't understand why they're doing it. But I showed some of it in a different video. I don't want to get into that right now. But anyway, so and I had a kind of it helped me understanding certain internal ideals, transitioning from the wider Hakka leg breathing into the more narrow old frame form Yang Lu Chen style of what you can utilize or be called leg breathing. All right, so I'm going to move the camera down and explain this a little better now. Okay, so whether you are doing straightforward mantis Hakka feet, right, or you're doing toes in, Wing Chun, or doing this version here to the side, or however you're doing it, when you're pulling in, do not squeeze your actual knees. What you're actually supposed to be doing, and you'll feel it if you do it right, imagine much like your legs are almost more like chopsticks, right? Or you're catching a ball with your feet. That's the motion we're going for. All right, so imagine someone kicked a soccer ball and you went like that, but much, much slower. And you'll feel it when you're doing these things. You can feel the inside fascia connect and rise, whether you do it slow, and you'll feel it rise all the way into your groin, that engagement of the bioelectric function. And it also helps to, in my opinion, it helps to understand Sung, or the connectedness, better in the Taijiquan. But that's what I'm talking about here. So if you're standing here and you're used to pulling up, as you're pulling up every time, I haven't done this. Sorry, it's been a while. You do that double breath, you squeeze. So every time you squeeze, you're pulling up in your Hakka, right? That was not the greatest display of SPM. I'm not saying it was. But that's what we're talking about, is that pulling, and more so making sure you're not squeezing with your knees, making sure that you're pulling with your legs like you're catching a ball slowly or quickly, however you're doing it. Now, the opposite side of this is not what you think. You're not going to root and push out. I have experimented with all of these things widely. I would say that's actually dangerous. It's more important to understand how to use your legs to both pick up, to move, and when you resettle, it's about rooting. So as you're pulling up, when you root, you're automatically going out and down, and to what you would think would be toes out, but it's really just that straight on settling to rooting. So you're pulling and rooting. So like when you're doing something like small sensao, you're pulling and rooting, pulling, rooting, pulling, rooting, pulling, rooting, pulling, rooting. And that's what I was talking about with leg breathing. And I'm matching my breath. Breathe in, breathe out, breathe in, breathe out. There are times where I'll go with a loaded breath here, so I'm already all the way breathed in and pulled in, and then I let it pull for one more second to fire the rubber band, and then I'm out. But I already start loaded. So you can do it loaded, and then just take one last pull up and then drop down, or you can breathe in, breathe out, pull up, root, pull up, root, pull up, root. To be honest, at this point, I would say there's like, unless you're doing low to ground Qigong exercises that specify toes out, where you're doing a style that does such wide low stances and angles that it requires toes out, you should really never have your toes out, especially not if you're practicing your training drills for street fighting, you should never be training with your toes out, right? So there's that. And that's really all it is, guys. I just wanted to explain, if you're coming from Hakka to YLC, you're going to take that. If you're not aware of the suction cup, do the suction cup breathing and pull in like you're trying to grab a big soccer ball slowly with your feet while you're still tucked. You can do this while your quads open and tucked. Um, and then as you narrow it, it's the same thing. And guys, the best way to explain this, if you flex your legs, like just flex your legs, right? You're not pulling, even if you're flexing the whole time. You need to be pulling to get the sensation that I'm talking about. And the best way to explain this is when you're standing in like a closed feet for like small sensao or YLC, Taijiquan. Now, if you do it from here, like if right now you can kind of feel I can feel my foot's gonna come off the ground. I can feel my weight shifting. When you do that, as I'm moving, I can't. It feels like my foot is glued to the ground as I'm squeezing in, and it gives you an extra layer of rooting um, as you're breathing in. I'm trying to think. So it roots you and lifts you at the same time, uh, depending on your purpose or intention. I have to speak vaguely because this is covering healing and fighting. Obviously, if you're doing healing, you want full breaths. If you're just standing there doing this, trying this out, and whether you're doing a southern 3 point or a standing, you want to practice start off lightly, squeezing the feet together, whether you're going into the stomach or to the chest. I've had good results with there's a couple things when you know you're building chi at a more advanced level, an expedited level. And I've done enough of this to know that when you squeeze that meridian in and you breathe into your stomach, you should be experiencing a higher quality and quantity of chi accumulation and purification. All right. So there's that. Um, Personally, I would say not. See, I'm not going to say no toes in. Toes in is widely misconstrued. When I was in China working with the Jingga and Ligong people, and in Guo Shifu, who does like Taijiquan disciple, he's a Chen Taijiquan disciple, he's a Foshan Wing Chun disciple. Um, when I was working with them, they did the toes in, but they did their toes in differently. So when you think of toes in, don't think of like the whole modified idea of like toes in because you got to be able to go like this, and it's because it was a woman wearing a dress, blah blah blah. Worry about the functionality of it. And when you do toes in, if you ever see somebody do it, when Goshibi does it, he just like you see him just like twist his yang chuan in slightly, and that's all it is. I mean, you're just digging, and then you grab the grass and release. It's a little bit tighter of a grab than in the Wudang or WTBA Qigong curriculum, but there's reasons for that. I mean, you're going for a more yang energy and a more yang approach to your Qigong for that. It's a fighting Qigong, so it should be like that. All right, so that's everything I know. If you want to know more about leg breathing, go to my small sensao footwork video. The second one, I'll be erasing the first one and replacing it with this video. So if you've seen that, then you should definitely check out the second one. I was able to think and sleep for a night and really put it all back together. And then this is a continuation just because I wanted to put out the transition from Hakka to uh, Taijiquan, and more specifically what I'm studying with the Yang Fan old frame form Taijiquan, and just being able to go from using your Hakka fundamentals or mastery of leg and breath combination or marriage, marrying those two things into being able to do it and utilize that same information for better internal ability and understanding, right? Because I didn't even know, dude, until I did this YLC small sensao with this group, the WTBA, I didn't even know that I could turn my body with my quad and just my pulling power alone. And go watch the video, the second one. Like, I do some really clean, just, you can see me, and I even slow it down. I don't want to do too much because I put my knees through enough today. But there you have it. Leg breathing, Hakka to YLC. I hope you enjoyed the information. I hope you learned something. If you have any questions, please leave in the comments section. Thanks for stopping by. Peace and blessings.